Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us, wherever you're listening to us. Today, I have with me Marcel. He is Marcel Young. He is my colleague. Hi, Marcel. You're mute, Marcel. How are you?
Hello, Yousra. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much first for
So,
accepting my invitation. I hope all is well in Brasilia. How are things
yeah, it's my pleasure. This the different time zones, right? We had to find our, and that was good for both of us. I had no idea what the difference was, so it's morning here in Brazil. It's 10 past 10 a.m., but it's a bit cold, colder than I expected. But I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm really excited about this. So yes, thanks for the invitation once again.
Thank you again. The pleasure is mine. I've always been impressed by you, your personality, and whatever you share on social media. So, Marcel, the professional person and the person who is inspiring everyone on Instagram. And I'm glad today. I'm so happy to have you as my guest. And I'm really so impatient to hear more about what you do as a teacher and as a person as well. So, welcome, Marcel, to the IKIGAI International podcast. And
Yeah, that's my pleasure again. Yeah, so really looking forward to talking to you about teaching and about life as well.
yeah,
That's what we usually do, right? With our students, and yeah, we talk about
yes,
life, we talk about
yeah,
interesting things in life, right?
yeah. So at the end of the day, we're human beings. We have families, and that's how it goes. So we do our best during the day, and that's how it goes. Look, and taking care of oneself is essential because we can't pour from an empty cup. So and everyone has a different strategy to keep oneself fit, to keep oneself happy. And part of this is the concept of ikigai that I like so much. And I've been impressed by this ever since I've discovered it a long time ago. And to whoever doesn't know what is ikigai, it's a Japanese word to finding
Mm-hmm.
someone's purpose in life. So everyone has a purpose in life, be it they can find it within the professional life, within the academic life, within the personal life, or within like something simple, like for something they can relate to, be it when they feel relaxed, something they can do for hours without getting bored from that. So everyone
Mm-hmm.
has that particular ikigai. And that's what makes everyone wanting to wake up in the morning and say, this is it, I'm going to hit up this morning and I'm so happy about whatever is going to happen today. And welcome, Marcel. And I'd like to ask you the first question today, Marcel, is that,
Sure.
how did you come across the teaching profession? So if I can ask you, what was kind of the stimulus, or when was the moment you felt that this is it? This is going to be my career as a teacher or teacher trainer.
Well, I actually discovered that I want to be a teacher in my late 20s. So I was having this conversation with some of my students, right? They were kind of indecisive about the careers, right? Oh, teacher, I don't want to know. I don't know what I'm going to study at university, right? And because I'm too young, I don't actually know what I want. And it took me, ages to find that out. So um, I didn't study languages at university, right? Because I wanted to be a radio presenter. I want to be a radio DJ. That's the profession that I really aspired. Uh, just like teaching, it's also related to communication, right? So I've always been a very communicative person, and I lived abroad. I lived in England for about 5 years, right? So I was living abroad. I was single. That's my life was like it revolved around uh working, saving up money, and traveling. That's what I did for many, many years. So well, I was a proper backpacker, right? I love traveling around, and that was my life, right? And I never thought about teaching. I mean, for me, teaching was such a like a far-fetched idea. It's like, oh, me, a teacher? Well, never. You know, I wasn't cut out for it. I'm not patient enough. I'm not talented enough. You know, I never thought, okay, teaching is not for me.
Actually, you
But
are.
I've always,
Yeah.
yeah, but I've always liked the language. I've always liked the I've always been passionate about English, right? And I have always loved the language. I always loved the grammar, the vocabulary. I love the learning new slang, new expressions. I want to kind of talk like a native speaker, right? I always want to learn with natives, right? And well, and then I was traveling one day, and I had a friend who was he was Brazilian as well, and he was just backpacking around Europe, right? So I was helping him with the language, right? I was explaining to him some of the expressions, some of the slang, and he really liked the way I was conducting, the way I was explaining to him things, and he was like, "Oh, you know, Marcel, you should be a teacher." I was like, "Come on, me? No, no way. Yeah, seriously, you should be a teacher. Have you ever thought about it?" I was like, no. Okay. And then you know, when something I it was kind of like a seed, you know, that he planted, and I kept thinking about it, and I was like, I was really unsure of my future. I didn't know, because I say I can't just do it for the rest of my life, right? I can't just work in, you know, I really don't have a career at the moment, right?
Mm.
And And then I was saying, okay. And one day I woke up and said, you know what? You know, I'm gonna be a teacher. You know, because I love the language, I love talking to people, and okay, so and then I had a colleague at the time that he was his English, and he was an English teacher. And I asked him, okay, so what should I do in order to, you know, follow this career? And he, you know, when we start talking about it, and he told me about CELTA, yeah, the Cambridge CELTA, which is the pre-service teaching training, yeah, course. And he told me about, you know, everything I needed and everything I had to do. And I was like, okay, so this is me taking notes. So, and that's how everything started. So, and then a few years later, I had to return to Brazil because my visa expired, so I couldn't stay in England anymore. So I came back to Brazil, and you know, I think 2 weeks after uh, I set foot back in Brazil, I was called for an interview, and then well, that's how everything started.
Good.
You know, so.
That's very impressive, Marcel. And I like the idea how it was framed and how you followed the track and how you asked people, how can you conduct that? Because we can have the brightest ideas in the world, and sometimes we don't know how to put them in practice. But it's good to have a network, or it's good to have people who can mentor you, for example, can guide you. That's amazing. And I think that puts you on the right track, because I believe since you're doing this profession, so you like it, and it's more than just doing it for just the sake of having it as a career. So we all do love teaching, and I always say that teaching is a work of heart more than anything else, because we put
It
all of
is.
our hearts in that. Yeah. You got me into asking you a question when it comes to backpacking and teaching. And I hope you can answer me on this question, which is the nomad teachers in a way. So kind of it's the trend nowadays, but it has been the trend a long time ago. It's like backpacking and teaching at the same time. So are you still up to this idea, or can you tell whoever is thinking about being a nomad teacher, or going on into this experience? What are the benefits? What did you learn from this experience?
Well, nowadays I'm a retired nomad. Okay, I'm kind of settled here and back in São Paulo, Brazil. Because now I have a family, right? I have my daughters. They go to school, right? So they're making friends, and we got all the bills to pay. So, but in spirit, yeah, I wish I could travel more. I wish I could go to other countries and perhaps teach remotely, right? Get to know different cultures, right? But then with that, this is something that I have to plan. I used to do more than back in the days, right? That's one of the just changing subjects a little bit. That's the reason why, for example, I really love whenever I have the chance to take part in conferences, for example. I like to go to international conferences because that's an opportunity for me to really, get to know, talk to people from different cultures, different countries, right? Get in contact with different people from different contexts. Yes. So, but that's the closest I get to, a nomadic life now. Okay. So, but who knows? Yes. In the foreseeable future, perhaps I could, I don't know, relocate to a different country and, teach from there. I'll be really, really happy.
And the second part of the question is, whoever thinks about following the same track, if ever like you had the chance to receive a piece of advice from someone in the past, the older version of Marcel, what kind of piece of advice you can give to young teachers now who consider maybe doing this as a career or prospective career, like teaching and traveling the world at the same time? Do you encourage them to do so? Like what kind of things they should do before to choose what is the right destination first? Can you tell me more about this, please?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage them because something that I was having this discussion with a friend the other day, because when we have like all these material things in life, right? So, okay, we have a house, we have a car, and a nice, the smartphone. But well, let me knock on wood first. Well, all these things can be taken from us. We can lose our phones, we can lose our car, right? But when we travel, all this knowledge, all the experience that we take with us, nobody can take us from us. So this is something that we always remember. This is something that, sorry for being repetitive, but nobody can take them from us. So this is like something really, really valuable in our lives, right? But teaching is not an easy career, right? It is really rewarding. It is something that really makes me, wake up in the morning motivated, wanting to do my best, but it's not an easy career. It's physically and mentally demanding, and you have to be always prepared, right? Because you are, playing a very important role in people's lives, right? You were teaching, then you were helping, then you were counseling, you were giving advice, not only, in regards to language, but also about life, right? I think our students, they always rely on us to, oh, teacher, what do you think I should do? So yeah, I totally encourage them to teach, and if the opportunity arises, like, go to a different country, get to know a different culture, teach students from different parts of the world. I think that's something that is, things are invaluable. I think that's, I'll totally encourage them. It's something that I swear by, the travel and teaching, that would be a perfect life for me.
I asked you this question because I always wanted to do this. But I've started traveling without teaching at the same time. So I'm a person who's passionate about traveling a lot. But I'm just curious to know, I just read a lot about other colleagues, the nomad teachers, and in 2014, while I was in Thailand, so I had that aha moment, let's say, and because I like the country so much, and I said, since I like this place, how can I live here and teach at the same time? So that idea crossed my mind at that particular time. I didn't get the CELTA at that particular time. So I got my CELTA in 2019. But if ever we given a chance again to do it, I might consider maybe being a nomad teacher. Who knows? It's I think it gives the opportunity to people to enjoy the culture of every country you visit in. And it's much more suitable, I guess, to single people, because once you settle down with the family and your children, it's not easy to move from one town to another, especially if the children, they have to be enrolled in schools. But being a nomad professional is amazing, because you can blend with the culture, you can know more about it, and especially in our field of specialty, like English teachers. It's the international language. It's among the most spoken languages in the world, so it's always in demand. And
How many times have you been to Thailand? Because I've never been to Thailand. I've always wanted to.
I've been once in 2014. Yeah, just once. It was Thailand and then Malaysia. So, and
wow.
yeah. And you know, that the kind of mindset, my mindset shifted ever since I made that trip. You know, yeah.
But why Thailand and Malaysia? I mean, out of all the Asian countries, what made you, pick those two? I mean,
I don't know. And now the Japanese culture, you know, I believe in soul tribes, and I believe, so that's maybe something outside of the conversation that we're having now. So I don't know. Maybe in an alter life, I might have been born maybe in a place like other than here. I have no idea. I have like a particular kind of longing to travel to Asia, and I like Asian people, by the way. Even in my countries, I practice Tai Chi and I practice yoga, and I share the same mindset. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be traveling in the future. I have no idea for now, because I've been applying everywhere. So who knows? Maybe in 5 or 10 years, I might relocate to one of these destinations. But why Thailand? Thailand, it's beyond, you know, the kind of the photos that they show for tourism, you know, the nice beaches and, you know, the tigers and the elephants. I went to see the safari. I was there. But
the amazing food.
Food and people. You know,
amazing.
I noticed something, Marcel. While in Thailand, I noticed that everyone was Zen, including animals, even cats and dogs. Cats, the dogs, they don't bark there, and cats, they're always kind of. It's like I said, maybe that is the country that is meant to be. So I maybe because I like to live in a cool environment. And since English was widely spoken there, so I had no issues communicating with people. And I had one of the best experiences there. I got lost. I had a lot of friends. I tried food. I experimented with music. Everything was amazing in that nice area of the world.
Yeah, food is important. The first thing that comes to mind when I travel to a place that, tell me about the local food, right? This is something that really,
street food. I've tried everything. You know, my colleagues, my friends, they were just afraid of trying street food. And I was the kind of the person who jumps up to everything. Here is it. This is a nice cocktail. Let's try it. This is nice food, street food. So I really I kept good memories from that trip. And if I had the chance to go back again, yeah, without hesitation.
All right. Okay. And that's one of the things one of the places I want to visit before I die. Yes, definitely. Thailand is definitely my bucket list.
It is, it is.
Okay, if you ask
And
me.
yeah,
Yes.
sure. And
Yeah. And
Malaysia,
also,
yeah, yeah, sure, yes.
oh no, so
I'm
go
sorry,
go
I'm
on.
sorry. No, 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 you go
Malaysia.
first. You go first.
No,
You
no,
go
no, no,
first.
no. Tell me about Malaysia, because this is another country that
It
has
is.
always kept in my imagination. So
It is, it is. And the hospitality of people there is what attracts me the best. Thailand and Malaysia, both of them. And I felt home, there was no cultural difference, no culture shock, nothing. So yeah, I'm interested to know more about what you think about this. Have you been there or not?
yeah, because when I was living in England, I don't know why that many people whenever I ask someone, well, where do you think I'm from? I don't know. There have been many cases where people say, "Oh, are you from Malaysia or something?" I was like, "Why Malaysia?" I mean,
Why did they associate like you being or having
yeah, it was
maybe
just
Asian origins?
that was just so curious. I mean, out of
Mm.
all the Asian countries, okay, I know I look Asian. I'm of Asian descent. That's a fact, right? I'm Brazilian, but my mom's like family is Japanese, and my father's family is Chinese, so I kind of a mix. But
I'm right
uh,
then for having
yeah.
chosen the
Uh,
Ikigai.
yeah, I was kind of curious. I was like, well, but why Malaysia? Because
Yeah.
that was something that was,
Yeah.
it was quite interesting.
Me too. Like, I don't know, because I have still Malaysian friends, but I believe that being part of a country is like it's kind of you choose it. For example, you can be born in a place. For example, in my case, I like my country so much, but I consider myself as a universal human being, and I consider myself as a citizen of the world. It's like wherever like you put me in any context or in any, be it professional or personal, whatever. So I don't have any issues getting along with people because I do believe that there's what we call the humanistic aspect. So we're humans, and like race and ethnicity is just a detail. And as long as you have the generosity, as long as you have the empathy, all those emotional intelligence, soft skills. So it's like I'm part of the world. So that's what I see myself in.
Yes, yes. And as long as you're open-minded as well.
Yeah, yeah, I do believe this. Yeah, because like to accept other people's difference and to treat people with respect, regardless of age and race and ethnicity. So that's really
Yeah.
important, especially in our profession. You're active in teacher associations as well, and I've seen one of your interviews with the IATEFL, I guess, last time. When I was scrolling on, I guess it was
Uh, uh,
recorded a long time ago. I saw it on Instagram.
uh,
Yeah, so I think you are active in teacher associations as well, just like the way that I am.
yeah. Yeah, as I said, I like to be around. I like to, again, I love congresses. I like conferences. This is one of the things that I love doing besides being in a classroom, right? Um, I had the golden opportunity to attend IATEFL, which is an international conference, right? It was held in Belfast last year, right? And it was such an invaluable experience because it was my first conference in the UK, right? I never taken part in I've taken part in conferences back in Brazil, but it was my first time in the UK. And it was, well, oh my God, I met so many great teachers and authors, and some of whom were like my idols, authors of books that I'd read. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. And I even took a picture with Adrian Underhill, was like one of the the professionals that I admired the most, right? He's one of the, let's say, the gods in terms of pronunciation teaching, right? So, and I had read many of his books, so I was like, oh my God, I can take a picture. We had this conversation as well, and we talked about Brazil, we talked about life, we talked about teaching, you know. So it was a great experience. So I like being around. Yes, as you said, I mean, this multicultural environment, right? And it's good. It makes you, you know, even more motivated and more inspired to keep teaching and doing your best, right? And so yeah, this is something that I also, you were talking about what advice will I give to novice teachers, right? This is one of them as well, right?
Yes. I
Because
was about
yeah, I have many colleagues in Brazil. They never been in an event like that. Oh, okay. Why don't you submit a paper and try to? Oh, I don't know what to say. I don't think I have these groundbreaking, revolutionary ideas. And no, you don't need to. You don't need to. Just share some of your experiences in the classroom. So, and I'm pretty sure that there are many people that will be willing to listen to it.
absolutely.
And so, yeah. So this is the kind of advice that I always give to not only novice teacher, but also very experienced colleagues.
Yes.
Who have never been a conference before.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you try it?
Sure.
Super fun.
It is. And to tell you a little bit more about my experience when it comes to conferences. So same, I've started attending conferences here in Tunisia, like starting from the moment I started working and I settled down. So I was looking for ELT communities here in my country. So there was kind of, at that particular time, my colleagues founded the TESOL, Tunisia TESOL here. And I've started attending international conferences that the Tunisia TESOL were here initiating, and step by step, especially after COVID. So I've registered to be a member of the TESOL International Association, and I've started attending more of overseas conferences. And what I can give as a piece of advice, just like the way you did, Marcel, is that even if you can travel, for example, or a teacher can say that it's really expensive, that they can make it abroad, the online option is still here. And if I tell you how many conferences and how many webinars I've just delivered all over the world, it's like kind of, I'll be starting to put pins on a word map, let's say, and to see what are the countries that I still haven't presented in. It's amazing as an experience, and it makes you travel the world while being at the comfort of your home, or own home or house.
Yeah.
And it's affordable, so but just you can and what they can share is that, as you said, it doesn't have to be very innovative, like you create something from scratch. What I encourage teachers is just to be themselves. Is like they can talk about their classroom experience, they can talk about their context. It's like a mosaic, I share what I know about my country, you do the same, and reassemble the puzzle together, and we put it into a full image. And that's what makes successful conferences, is like the particularity of every experience. So we bring that kind of special spice from every country, and then we make it blended together.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think
that's interesting, because when we attend conferences, right, and we don't always expect something new. Sometimes we just want something that we just want to validate our own practice, right? Even if you say something that this is what I do, there's nothing new for me, but perhaps I like the way you present it, and I like to hear your experiences with that, so I can feel better about my practices. So, okay, yeah, all right. I can't believe that Yousra from Tunisia, well, she does the same things as we teachers in Brazil. So that's just a validation. It doesn't have to be something you know, completely new, because I don't think there's such a thing nowadays, right? You're not going to a talk where it's like, oh my God, I never heard of this
Yes.
before, right?
Yeah.
This is quite rare, or even impossible, if you ask me, right? Can I ask you something about
Sure.
the ELT market? How does it work in Tunisia? I mean, are there like private English schools, or how does it work in Tunisia?
Yes. So yeah.
The English language teaching market, yeah.
Sure. I'll be so glad to tell you more about this. So when it comes to Tunisia, so we did have private schools like a long time ago. And I was lucky to be part of a school where they have taught English at the age of 5. So I started learning English at 5, and along with French. So it was it was a French school. And we did have that open-mindedness towards the kind of international market. But I've noticed recently, like let's say the last decade, that a lot of overseas franchise, let's say, or like schools, even locally, for example, Tunisian expats that lived abroad and wanted to go back to their homeland, and they wanted to kind of launch projects. So I had many colleagues, like they did this part of their retirement project. So they have created and launched schools, international schools, and they got the accreditation, for example, from Cambridge assessment, from international, from IB, for example, international baccalaureate. So and now that's the trend, you know. People there more into partnership, and teachers that got certified, you know, with all this, like we have CPD ongoing, and people think more of the CELTA and the Delta, and I believe that Tunisia we're very open towards partnership with other cultures and with other educational systems, as long as it serves global citizenship. And when it comes even to associations as well, so colleagues, they're very active in teacher associations. So among them, for example, I had a lot of colleagues, many of them, they've traveled to Saudi Arabia to present, but I had the chance to present online myself, so I couldn't travel at that time. You know, we're very kind of open towards knowing more about the other in ourselves at the same time. And myself included, I believe in growth mindset, and I believe in what we call the Kaizen theory, if you're acquainted with the term, you know, positive improvement. It's like in business, in ELT, in someone's personal growth. So yeah.
Okay,
I hope I answered
that's
the
lovely.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so and if I go to Tunisia now, okay, tomorrow if I travel to Tunisia, and if I walk down the streets, I mean, would be a problem for me to try to communicate with people in
No, at
English?
all. At
No?
all. At all. You know, Generation Z in Tunisia, they all like English. You know, at that particular time, you know, after the French colonization, you know, my parents' generation, let's say, older than me. So the educational system was framed within the French system. But after this, you know, Tunisia 2.0, you know, we got more into English and Anglophone cultures. So if ever you just say hi to anyone in the street in Tunisia, they will welcome you, and they will even guide you. They will host you. You know, we're very hospitable as people. You know, a lot of my friends, they just you know, as apart from exchange programs, you know. So the fact of hosting people, and it's vice versa, you know, part of that. But any foreigner is welcome here in Tunisia. And I believe that my country has been through a lot of cultural blend, let's say. We've known so many cultures, but we still remain unique in our ability to host everything was still being unique as a nation, you know. And you're welcome anytime you'd like to visit Tunisia.
Okay, yeah. One of the places never been to. I've never been to one of the continents that I've never been to is Africa. Never been to, you know. So yeah, I would love to. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
But not only
very welcome.
not only Tunisia, but you know your
Yeah, I'll
neighbors
tell
as
you.
Morocco
I
as
will
well.
tell
Yeah.
you. I'll tell you something. You know,
Yeah.
the ELTA, Africa ELTA, will be hosting the next conference 2024 in Egypt. So if ever like you'd like to visit the MENA area and maybe submit a proposal. So and I might do this as well. So we might meet in Egypt as colleagues if you want. So that would be great.
Yeah. That would be great. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great.
Okay. So my next
Yes.
question, Marcel, is like you've tackled almost everything that I wanted to ask you about, and but now I'd like to ask you about a kind of let's say a much more specific question, which is I've seen you, Marcel, being very athletic, and you taking care of your body, your diet, what you eat. You're taking part of competitions, running and marathons. Can you tell me more about that side of Marcel's personality? You know, the thing that people don't know about you. What is it? What do you like? What do you find interesting in that particular side?
Well, I like to, you know, I know it's gonna sound extremely like cliche, right? It's a cliche, but I like that motto, you know, sound mind, sound body. You know, I believe that our bodies are like machines, right? We have to take care of it. So if I want to be a good teacher, if I want to be a good professional, a good father, you know, I have to take care of not only of my mind but also of my body. You know, so once I watched one of those TED Talk presentations, right, and it was a very good one. I forgot his name, but the presenter was actually he had some balls and he was juggling, right, juggling them, and he said that each of those balls represented a sphere in our lives. So there's our careers, our family, our passions, our spirituality and religion of whatever. And he said that we have to kind of juggle all of them, right? And we can't drop any of them. Yes, the flow. So we have to keep them, you know, moving. But the problem is that many people, they just sometimes have one or two of those balls, right? And they forget about the others. So they've dropped all the others. And I see many people that focus, okay, this is my career and this is my home. And that's it. You know, I wake up in the morning and I go to work all my day long, sometimes in a job that I don't even like. And I spend the whole day wishing not to be there, and then I go back home. But when I get back home, I'm too tired to do anything else. So just go to bed, wake up the next day, go to work again. And then people, they kind of get stuck in a rut, right? And I see many people, they don't take care of their bodies, they don't take care of their souls, they don't take care of their minds. And, you know, and for me, that's not living. You know, for me, we have to have, as you said at the beginning of our talk, like we have to have a purpose in life, right? We can't just be a teacher, for example, just for the sake of, okay, I'm gonna get paid for that. No, we need to have a purpose. And also, one of the purposes in life is to, you know, to do something that we love doing besides working, okay, or besides taking care of our family. We have to have something that makes us wake up every day and say, oh, okay, I have to do this. You know, once I was doing I was looking at the IKIGAI mapping math, and one of the things that I was checking my results, right, and then one of the things that says that I have to have a task. Yeah, I have to complete a task every single day, not just for work, but for life as well. So you mentioned, for example, I love go running, right? Go for a run, and this is my task. If I don't do it, I'm gonna spend the whole day saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't time for a run today," or I have to eat, healthily. And if I don't do it, I'll say, "Oh, I can't believe I ate that for lunch. Oh, I need to improve that. I have to, find a better choice for dinner, especially when I'm traveling, right? Because when we are traveling, we are always like, oh, okay, sometimes we don't eat what we're supposed to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in other words, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care. You mentioned earlier that you are into yoga, for example, and yoga is one of the things that I came across at the beginning of the pandemic. When the lockdown started and we were all locked inside, and I couldn't go out, and I discovered yoga, for example, and this is something that even though it's something that I don't practice every day the way I used to, but it is something that it's really, really helped me as well. Not only mentally, but physically. And yes. So, and I believe that, sometimes I'm teaching a lesson and, okay, I have to teach the next one in like half an hour. So I have time for some, I can do some poses, some stretching, some breathing exercises. So it's something that has really helped me as well. So.
The most difficult task that I found while starting to meditate with yoga is it was difficult a little bit at the beginning to meditate, because we can practice this, but to empty the mind and just to be in the here and now, in the moment, it was difficult at the beginning and challenging. So what I did at that time is that I practiced a group meditation. So we went outdoors in a place in Tunisia called Belvedere, and there were regular daily yoga classes offered for free by the Embassy of India in Tunisia. And there was a special coach, and he was really certified to do this. So he knew what exactly to do. And I've started to be passionate about yoga at that time. And I've started to learn my own way of how to listen more to my body. When I meditate, it's like there's no one here except me. I can hear even my own breath. I can even hear my heartbeat, things that we don't usually do, with everyday life and whatever activities we're doing on a daily basis. But yoga made me do a kind of inner journey, and whenever I need that time with Yousra and with myself, so I just go and meditate, or it depends on how people see it. Some people, they pray, others they meditate. It's like that mindfulness. So to be here in the moment, to feel, to like the five senses, you use them and you're fully aware of the present experience. So I think that's a lesson that I learned from yoga. And from Tai Chi, I was inspired, actually. I went for a run, I was running in a park in Tunisia. I'm just going to say this in French. It's Parcours de la Santé in Menzarouane. It's a place called Menzarouane here near where I live. And I was just going cool, listening to music, and I was kind of running whenever I have time. And I saw a group of people kind of practicing something cool. So I saw them like kind of doing kind of moves like
movements,
this, yes, and slow moves and like this. So what it was synchronized, and I've noticed even the cats, they obey. Cats, they're just listening and following the track of the coach, whatever the coach was doing. And then I asked for permission And I said, can I join your group? So they told me, of course you can. And but honestly, I'm no longer a loyal kind of attendee to the group. So my coach is going to listen to this podcast, so she will know, because of the rain and in the weather and the conditions, because we practice this outdoors. But I learned how to practice Tai Chi alone. So I started following YouTube tutorials, and I've noticed that Tai Chi, it's like so yoga helped me master the inner journey, the inner world. But Tai Chi, how to handle the external energy. So if anyone comes up to me with some negative energy, it's like kind of energy ball, and bye-bye. So that's Tai Chi, and I believe I still have many things to learn, actually. I'm still a beginner.
Yeah. But I do believe that all those practices, they reflect on our teaching, right? I mean,
yeah.
For example, whenever I'm having a bad day, or sometimes we have to deal with difficult students or a difficult lesson, or I mean, oftentimes we teach lessons that afterwards we say, oh my God, it wasn't so good, or oh, it was a terrible lesson today, and we get quite stressed, right? We have problems, we have life, we have to deal with conflicts, and I think one of the ways of navigating through that, is to again go back to try to you use the word mindfulness. Yes, try to find mindfulness, try to embrace mindfulness, and take 5 minutes, right? Take 5 minutes, stand up, go outside, stretch a little bit, sunbathe a little bit, have a glass of water, meditate, whatever. It'll take some 5 minutes before you go to the next class, or and then take care of your body, take care of your soul, right? Take a deep breath. So and then that's how we can stay healthy. That's how we can stay healthy. I have so many colleagues that are always like, oh, I'm always exhausted, I'm always tired, and then what happens is when you are stuck in a rut, the tendency is that you fall into like bad habits. You say, oh, you know what, I'm going to grab a snack because I'm stressed, or I'm gonna grab another snack before I'm stressed, or I'm gonna drink something, I'm gonna have something. So it's like a remedy, so this is something that especially during the pandemic.
You got me interested into I just took note of it so that I won't forget it. How do you believe, let me reframe the question. How far do you think habits are important for someone's career success, or for finding someone's ikigai? So how far do you think habits are important in order to find that ikigai, setting good habits?
I like to, I know it's another cliche, but I like to, I heard once that motivation versus discipline, right? You're not always motivated. Nobody is always motivated. Even like us, sometimes like, oh my God, I have to teach this group, I have to teach this class, I'm tired today. We're not always 100% yippee. Okay, no, that's a fact.
Sure, absolutely.
But I think, and you mentioned, like, for example, I like running, but sometimes I feel so late. Oh, do I have to go run? But then that's when discipline comes, right? I once I heard an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And he said, somebody asked him, but why do you still go to the gym every day? And his answer was, well, because I brush my teeth every day. So
yes.
And that's discipline. I do it every day. So
whatever happens, it should be done. Yes, exactly.
So I think we have to create these discipline kind of routine. I mean, you don't have to question yourself. Oh, I just have to do it. just like you have a shower, you brush your teeth, you eat 2-3 times a day, right? You don't even question, oh, do I
Yeah.
have to have? No, you just do it. And I think habits is like something that you don't have to say like, oh, if I have time, I will meditate. No, if I have time, I will do 15 minutes of yoga. No, just put in your schedule.
Schedule. That's it. Yeah.
Come what may. Okay, at least now. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to do my yoga now.
And
And we do it.
I've learned a technique, even sometimes
Yeah.
I get lazy,
So
applying something. You know what I do, Marcel? I reduce the time spent, the time slot. For example, if I think that I'm so tired to practice, for instance, for an hour, just reduce this to half an hour, 20 minutes. But whatever happens, it should be done. So I think
yeah,
that is discipline.
yeah,
Whatever happens, it
yeah.
should
It's like it's like walking the dog. I have a dog and I have to walk her every day, and this is my moment. This is like my outlet as well. Sometimes I just have to have a me time, like 5-10 minutes. So I go out with my dog, go around the neighborhood. And that's a great thing because I go around the neighborhood and I pay attention to things that I wouldn't normally do if I was driving, right? So I look at people walking around. I pay attention to the street, the trees, to the walls, to the houses, and oh, I didn't know there was a new cafe here. Oh my God, they closed that business. So I pay attention to things, and sometimes I carry out all the negative feelings and energy, right? Again, I'm having a bad day, and I go for a walk, 5-10 minutes. When I come back, I don't know if it's the dog's energy, right? I got some of the dog's energy. But when I come back, I am a different person. I'm a different person. At the time, so I don't know. Before I left home, I don't know. I was kind of okay. I said something to my daughters. I told her I'm a different person. So you know, and it doesn't take much, right? So this is what I was.
I absolutely agree with you, and I believe that is part of your ikigai as well. It's like taking care of yourself and taking care of others, taking care of your family, and spending quality time, and anything that can make you what you are, Marcel, as a person. I'm curious about something that I didn't really ask you, Marcel, which is if ever now you come across the genie in a bottle and he asks you make a wish, or what kind of career path you would like to have apart from teaching, or what are you good at? So let me reframe the question. So you are good at something else. For example, you're good in sports, you're good in arts. I don't have a kind of a clear idea about what you are exactly good at. And they will ask you, what kind of career can you consider? So where do you see yourself as different from Marcel now? Like different in the sense, if not a teacher, what can Marcel be?
I don't know. Maybe that's a really great. That's a
It
really good
challenges.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it challenges. Perhaps going back to my childhood dreams, which was to be broadcast like a radio presenter, right? It's something every time I listen to the radio, I always think about it. Oh, this is something I would love to do one day. Talk about music and talk to the audience, and try to make jokes, and another thing that I've always wanted to do is like perhaps one day, I don't know, probably write a book or something, and then if the book is successful, perhaps travel around and talk to people about the book, giving presentations. I love giving presentations. talking to audiences. I know that this is something that scares many people, but I actually love the butterflies in my stomach before
Yes.
it starts, the tension and adrenaline rush. But I really like, this is something that I found that I really like talking to people, to an audience. But public speaking is something that I recently found as interesting activity. So this is something I see myself doing in the future. And
can I elaborate, Marcel? Can I elaborate?
Yeah.
On the same theme. If ever you'd be given the chance, or you think about running or starting your own podcast, maybe, do you think that ambition for being a public speaker, talking to people, like broadcasting, because I have the same ikigai as you, it's broadcasting and journalism. I've studied this, and I've applied part of my ikigai in this ikigai podcast. Actually, the podcast in itself is my ikigai, actually. So do you think that will be possible that we see Marcel maybe podcasting, or maybe taking part of the digital journalism for ELT, writing, publishing books in the near future?
Yeah, why not? Okay, this is something that the same way that I encourage colleagues to take part in conferences, I found many people that have encouraged me to, perhaps publish something, try to write something, put your ideas together, and I've always thought, why not? I just have to maybe one day and sit down and come up with something, and yeah. But I definitely see myself doing all the things that you mentioned. And this is what makes life exciting, right? Because I mean, as long as we don't settle for good and say, oh, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, that this is something sad for me. I just like to, I was having a debate the other day with students about because in the past people used to work for the same company for the whole lives, right? There was this concept of loyalty, and in this day and age, people tend to switch jobs more often, right? Okay, I'm not happy here, so I'm going to look for something, and then oftentimes they are criticized about, because you're not loyal anymore, because you're not. But I do believe that we have to always search for, for something, right? We can't just be in our comfort zones all the time. We have to, find something that motivates us, that excites us, that, makes us anxious, and, perhaps in the same company, you are working a company and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to apply for something, that new position. I'm going to do something different for a change, That, I don't know, it's just exciting, right? It is just, and going back to purpose, right? It gives you a new purpose, or it reshapes your purpose. All right. And otherwise we get bored and we become something miserable.
It is actually, just wondering, how can people work for do the same job repetitively for 30 years, for 40 years? How can they get bored? And actually that's why I've chosen teaching as a position, actually. My parents, they're bankers, and I even got my baccalaureate degree in mathematics. And then I was thinking, what can I do after? And I talked to my parents. I told them I wanted to do something that I like. So they told me, are you sure? So do you need advice? So they made sure they show me everything, they guide me through. But it was my decision to be an English teacher and to study something that I like. And if ever I'll be having children in the future, so I might do the same with my children, as just the way that I'm doing it with my students. So I give them the freedom to choose, because some people, they don't have actually the choice to work something even though they don't like it, they have to work it to earn a living, you know. But like having the choice to do this is the privilege. In some countries, for example, you know, they just don't have any other choice. In other countries, still you can have a choice, but it's limited. In other countries, much more privileged to have more than just one job and to be an entrepreneur, you know. It all depends as well from the context you're in, where you live, where you study, where you work. And what I think is that it's good to dare to change. Change is scary to some people because they don't know what's the next step.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's good to take calculated risks as well. So dare to try change and dare to choose something you like. And then, you know, the reassurance will come right after. Right after you jump into the water, you know, you will learn how to swim if you just keep on staring at the shore. So it won't make you a good swimmer, you know, generally speaking, you know, for other people.
Yeah.
What do you think of Marcel? So do you think like when it comes to, for example, parents and children, do you encourage like more of a communicative approach to talk to children, to try to guide them, or, you know, as parents, we know better and that's it? So
No. Well, we have to communicate because oftentimes I see parents, for example, taking their children's intelligence and abilities to make decisions for granted, right? Children they know more than we think they do. That's the thing, you know. Sometimes I often say, "Oh no, they're just children." No, they're just children. They know. They listen. They know and they listen, of course. And sometimes they pretend that they don't know, but they know, right?
yes, they're very smart. Yes.
Yeah, they don't. Sometimes they don't even know they know, but they do. So yeah, children are really, really intelligent, and we sometimes underestimate that. Right. So that's why I have many conversations with my eldest daughter is 10 now, and I get amazed. Every day she amazes me of, I mean, how much she knows about the world and the questions that she asks, and you know, and I keep thinking about when I was her age, I wasn't like even like as half as, you know, as smart as she is, or I didn't know like as half as the things she knows now, and this is just unbelievable. Okay, so of course that sometimes I have to act as the responsible person, right? I have to be a parent, and I have to, you know, okay. But I try to listen to them more than, for example, my parents listened to me. You know, it was like such a top-down thing. And nowadays, of course, again, there must be discipline, there must be respect, there must be lots of things. Because I'm a parent, right? So I have to teach them values. I have to teach what's right and what's wrong, and I always try to empower them, to give them the necessary tools to survive in this world, right? I don't want to always protect them. I want to make them stronger as people, as individuals, right? As women, right? I want them to be powerful women in this world. But at the same time, they need to be listened to. And sometimes we have to negotiate. Sometimes you know, and I'm okay. And I'm okay when they teach me things. And I'm okay when they correct me. Just I'm okay when students correct me.
Sure.
Okay. Or, you know, one of the things I love about teaching is that when you were a teacher, at least me, I try to teach, if not everything, as much as I can. Okay. If I teach everything I know, you know, and it's like I talked to a former student the other day. She's in her 20s now, but she used to be my student when she was a teenager, and her English is just amazing. I would say that, oh, okay, perhaps her English is better than mine nowadays. And, and that makes me really, really happy. It makes me really, really happy. And the same thing with my daughters. I truly want my daughters to be better, to be more complete human beings than myself. I want them to, this is what I want.
To be very successful.
Really.
Actually, that's the point. As teacher, so I really identify with what you're saying. I always want to see my students successful, because part of their success is mine. My strategy wouldn't be successful if they don't succeed. And it's not only about grades, they succeed in life. For example, we teach not only academic skills, but we teach life skills as well. So if as teachers, we give them the right tools they can use in conferences and meetings, in networking, how to sit for a job interview, so everything that we teach them. So if we give them the right tools and I see them successful, that makes me happy. That's a milestone for me, actually, to see every student successful in his particular way. And sometimes on LinkedIn, I just receive suggestions or even friend requests from my former students, and then I see manager at, responsible at, so proud, and I think that is part of my fulfillment, self-fulfillment as a teacher. And I guess that is the same for every teacher who considers himself to be a human being before then being a teacher. Because, if it was to information is available online, especially nowadays. They can be, they learn everything by themselves. So, but if we are part of their lives, so I think we should make sure we are impactful. And so before we wrap up, Marcel, it was an amazing conversation with you and really liked knowing a lot about you. I'd like to ask you the last question is, do you consider, Marcel, do you consider that you've found your ikigai or not? Or is it still in the process?
I think that I'm still in the process, because we, again, human beings, we always changing or reshaping our outlook on life, right? We always putting things into perspective, and we have new inputs every day. We change as people, right? And we see that a lot of it during the pandemic, right? We've just been through 2 or 3 years that we really start thinking about things in a different way, and that's it. We are always changing, we are always evolving. So perhaps something that I want now is not something that I want in 5 years' time. Yeah, something that I used to value 10 years ago, I don't think it's that important anymore. So that's why I think that my ikigai, my purposes, they will perhaps not be the same, right, in a while. So, and I like these, transformations. I like these transitions. I think that's what keeps us on our toes. That keeps us, improving and evolving as human beings, right? So we need to be in search of something. That's what I believe.
Okay. Same. Yeah, I definitely share your point of view. Ever since I've known the word in itself, because the ikigai has a lot of synonyms around the world. For example, in French, c'est la raison d'être. In English, it's like the purpose of life. In Japanese, it's ikigai, which is a portmanteau for ikigai, both. So every culture has a certain way of saying, of expressing what is ikigai. but at the same time, it's a personal experience, and no one can live your ikigai on your part, on your behalf, even for the same profession. So we do share the same set of skills, competencies, but there are variations, and for sure, and I think it's a life journey. And once we stop looking up for our ikigai, and I think that life would be boring at that time. It's kind of stimulus to live a much more fulfilling life. Fulfilling by means happy, you're proud of yourself, whatever you're doing. Yeah, you want to add anything before we end up our episode?
No, just say it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I like talking about, again, teaching. I like talking about lifestyle and talk about life in general. Okay. Sorry if I talk too much.
No, it's meant for that,
Yeah, okay. And I hope we can do this again. So it'll be really interesting. And yes, so thanks again, Yousra, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I one day learn how to properly pronounce your name.
It's fine. You did. You said it the French way. Say Yousra. So it's a proper name, and you can call me Yousra. In Arabic it's Yousra. In French it's Yousra. In English it's Yousra, and that's me, anyways. So thank you.
All right. So thanks again. Yeah.
Thank you, Marcel, and it was a great pleasure, trust me. And you're a very, very motivational person. You're a very supportive person. So whenever I post anything online, you're just here to support, to comment. So I think you're very unique as a person, and I'm so very proud to have you as a colleague. And I hope that someday we'll manage to co-present, or maybe attend, or maybe see you like beyond the screen, because the screen has brought us together for this podcast today. And I'm ready to help in any possible way in my network, or whether we meet in person. So I hope this is not only just for this podcast. And thank you very much for sharing your personal life, your professional life, your insights, and all your good vibes and all your good intentions with me and to whoever who's listening to us. And I'll let you say the last word before we wrap up.
Okay, so thank you, Lisa, and goodbye, everyone, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, everyone, and stay blessed and stay safe. And talk to you soon, everyone. And take good care of yourselves. And if ever you've been inspired to look up and to search for your ikigai, don't hesitate to check out other episodes on Spotify, on YouTube, and watch available episodes from other fellow ELT colleagues and FL teachers and ESL teachers on my channel. Thank you, everyone, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.